I call David Seymour.
Mr Speaker, I'd like to thank the member for giving me this opportunity by bringing this bill. I felt a little bit bad over the weekend because I said on the radio that it was evident that the member had brought a bill he did not understand, had not written himself, probably got allocated out of the Labour Party caucus ballot. And I still feel bad, but I now know from his speech that it was absolutely correct. You could see him reading away, bumbling through his notes. And I also saw one other thing in that speech. Actually, let me come back a second. I want to pay a compliment to Sarah Dowie, who made an excellently set out speech, logically laid out the argument and the facts, and weren't the opposition rude when they were vexed by the force of Sarah Dowie's arguments. But coming back, I felt a bit bad, but maybe I shouldn't have. Because I also noticed something about this bill, that it is indeed a stunt bill. I was flattered perhaps to star in most of Adrian Ruafei's speech. Mr Speaker, this is a bill entirely designed to target a particular member, strangely enough, me. And you have to ask yourself, why did the Labour Party not change the law when Dover Samuels was an Under-Secretary back in 2005? And I've got a few theories about why that might be, Mr Speaker. It might be because the Labour Party actually understand the OIA quite well. It might be they understand the OIA quite well because most of their front bench were in Parliament in 1982 when the Act was originally passed. But Mr Speaker, it might also be that they understand how this thing actually operates, is that in the Constitution Act, which almost all of the Labour caucus were here to pass, Under-Secretaries derive their power entirely from ministers. Under-Secretaries do not have decision-making power. The Labour Party probably understands that the purpose of the OIA is to allow citizens and the House of Representatives to keep an eye on the executive, understand how it makes its decisions, why and what those decisions are. If any member of this House or the public wants to know about policies where I have assigned responsibility from the Minister, they need only go to the Minister for the official information because the Minister makes the final decision and the Minister has all of the official information. This bill is redundant, but it is only useful as a stunt by the Labour Party, and haven't we seen the hypocrisy of it come out because, of course, they themselves did not act when they had Under-Secretaries in Helen Clark's time. Finally, Mr Speaker, can I suggest that in law and public policy that Adrian Ruafei was so keen to quote, the exercise of the law should be proportional. Mr Speaker, what that means is that in order to achieve its purposes, to allow citizens to hold the government to account, the law should only use the amount of inconvenience and effort required to achieve that. We've already established that it is possible to hold the executive to account and understand its decisions by OIA-ing the minister responsible. What extra benefit would there be from placing additional burden on Under-Secretaries to comply with the OIA? And what harm there would be, I'm hearing from the old man in the corner. Let me tell him what harm there would be. The harm would be that he would be the first person to stand up when Under-Secretaries in this government or any other requested additional funding and resources to comply with OIA requests. That's what would be required. And so, Mr Speaker, I conclude by saying that this bill is a political stunt. It is sad for the quality of debate and public policy in this House that it's the second Labor stunt bill that's come up today, and it is a stunt bill because it does not achieve any purpose for which it is required. All it does is attempts to attack me, and while I'm a little bit flattered, I cannot support the bill. Finally, the law in achieving its objectives should be proportional, and it would be a disproportional application of the law to apply the Official Information Act and requests to Under-Secretaries. When the Labour Party wrote the Constitution Acts in 1986, when they had intellectual giants like Sir Geoffrey Palmer, unlike today, they got it right. Even when the Muldoon government introduced the Official Information Act in 1982, they actually got it right. And so those laws will stand tonight because I and my colleagues on this side of the House will be opposing this silly, vexatious stunt bill. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Mr Speaker.